Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something. Well, it's a real-life corporate drama that honestly had more twists than maybe anything you'd see on daytime TV itself.
That's a good way to put it. We're diving into Prospect Park's really ambitious plan to take these two huge, beloved soap operas, One Life to Live, OLTL, and All My Children, AMC.
Icons, really.
Absolute icons.
Mhm.
And relaunch them, but exclusively online. So this deep dive, it's really charting that whole journey, from the big licensing deal back in 2011.
Which felt so hopeful at the time.
Right, all the way to the pretty messy end, the bankruptcy filing for their networks division in 2014.
And our mission here for you listening is to unpack what really happened when this traditional, very established broadcast format tried to make that huge leap into the brand new world of streaming, and why this sort of pioneering effort just failed so dramatically.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to say Prospect Park wasn't some tiny startup, right? They weren't newcomers.
Not at all. Founded in 2008, you had Richard H. Frank, Jeff Quatnetz. These were industry veterans. They had clout.
They had real successes under their belt.
Yeah.
TV production, things like Royal Pains, Wilfred.
Salem, too, later on. And a music division managing some big names, like Korn, Five Finger Death Punch. So they had, serious industry footing.
Definitely not a garage operation. They came in with credibility, presumably capital, experience.
Absolutely. This was meant to be a well-funded, industry-backed bet on digital IP, not a fan project.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start at the beginning. The big announcement. July 7th, 2011, ADC licenses OLTL and AMC to Prospect Park. The whole idea. New episodes, but online, on this new thing they called the Online Network, TOLN.
And the initial plan was, wow, incredibly ambitious. By September 2011, so just a couple of months later, they announced new episodes would start airing in January 2012.
January 2012. That's less than 4 months from announcement to air for two daily soaps.
Exactly. Aggressive doesn't even quite cover it. It screams massive optimism, maybe over-optimism.
Well, and maybe that explains what happened next, because that timeline immediately started to wobble. Just over a month later, November 10th, 2011, boom, AMC's relaunch is indefinitely delayed.
Right. Suddenly the focus narrows completely just to OLTL.
Yeah.
Trying to get at least one off the ground, I guess.
But even that didn't stick, because then, barely 2 weeks after that, November 23rd, they suspended everything. The channel, both shows, the whole project just stopped.
Yeah, pull the plug entirely. It looked like the whole online dream died before the soaps had even finished their original runs on ABC. A complete halt.
So, wait, if these guys were industry heavyweights, why did it seem like they were, caught off guard? The complexity of moving these huge shows, dealing with unions, contracts, actors, it feels predictable, right?
You'd think so. It suggests maybe the initial due diligence wasn't quite deep enough, or maybe the resistance from various parties was stronger than anticipated.
And stopping, then restarting. I mean, think about the whiplash for the fans, the cast, the crew. Morale must have just tanked.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine being an actor or writer on those shows. It was a total roller coaster, a logistical and, frankly, an emotional nightmare for everyone involved. But then silence for a year.
Right. Radio silence.
And then January 2013, suddenly, it's back on. The resurrection is confirmed. Prospect Park says TOLN is launching, and yes, both AMC and OLTL are back as the anchors.
Okay, so after all the drama, the fall starts. They actually geared up again. Production resumes February 25th, 2013.
Yeah, they actually managed to get cameras rolling.
And they finally make it to the premiere. April 29th, 2013. New episodes, 30 minutes each, hitting multiple platforms at once. Hulu.
Hulu Plus, iTunes. They were trying to be everywhere the audience might be. It wasn't just one walled garden.
Which was smart, right? Trying to maximize eyeballs from day one.
Definitely. And what's really interesting here, I think, is that they weren't just dumping the episodes online. They seemed to understand the digital space required more.
You mean the extra content?
Exactly. They launched things like more All My Children and more One Life to Live. These were like behind-the-scenes featurettes, discussion segments, recaps, trying to build engagement.
Like a web-native approach. And they even had that related radio talk show, right? Calling SoPS Live with Michael Fairman.
Yeah. They were trying to create this whole ecosystem around the shows. It showed they were thinking about streaming as more than just, plopping a TV show online. It was about community, engagement.
Building a digital fan hub. Okay, so they have this broader content strategy. Things are finally looking up, maybe.
You'd think. But literally, as they're launching, just days before the premiere, actually, April 18th, 2013.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Prospect Park drops a bombshell.
The lawsuit.
The massive lawsuit.
Yeah.
$25 million against ABC.
Wow. Okay, so not just a minor disagreement. That's declaring war, basically. What were they alleging?
Sabotage, essentially. They claimed ABC failed to live up to the licensing deal and was actively undermining the revival. Basically, they argued ABC was deliberately hurting the very shows they had just licensed out.
How? What were the specifics?
Well, a key point was about characters. Prospect Park claimed ABC was killing off major One Life to Life characters who'd been loaned out to ABC's remaining soap, General Hospital.
Ah, okay. So ABC still runs General Hospital. They borrow some OLTL characters for storyline crossovers.
Right, which is common practice. But PP argued ABC was using GH to permanently eliminate characters that were vital to OLTL's identity and future storylines.
So Prospect Park pays for the rights to use character X, but then ABC kills character X off on a different show, making them unusable for the online revival.
Precisely. They argued ABC was devaluing the asset they just sold. They also claimed ABC wasn't consulting them on how these OLTL characters were being used on GH, leading to fights over who even, owned certain characters at that point.
What a mess. Decades of history, shared characters. It sounds like a legal minefield.
A total minefield. It highlighted just how complicated legacy IP can be, especially with character rights spread across shows.
Okay, so they're fighting this huge legal battle with their licensor, ABC, and then more trouble. Internal stuff this time.
Yep. Just as they're trying to navigate the launch and the lawsuit, bam, June 6, 2013, production halts. Completely stops again.
Not another suspension. Why this time?
Labor dispute. This time it was with IATCC, the stage employees union.
Okay, so crew contracts, working conditions, that sort of thing.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Now, they did resolve it. Took about 2 months. But they reached an agreement and work technically could have resumed by August.
But it didn't, did it?
Nope. Connect the dots. You've got the financial strain, the unexpected shutdown, the ongoing massive legal fight with ABC. The pressure must have been immense. So, September 3rd, 2013, Prospect Park announces another production suspension for both shows.
Another one. Seriously, what was the reason this time?
They explicitly tied it to the lawsuit. They basically said, we can't continue production until this fight with ABC is resolved.
Wow. So holding the shows hostage, in a way, pending the legal outcome, that sounds like a death knell. Lawsuits like that can take years.
It proved to be exactly that. By November 11th, 2013, just over 6 months after that big, hopeful premiere cast members started confirming it publicly, Prospect Park had shut down production for good. Canceled. Again.
The comeback was over. Just like that. 6 months? Incredible.
A really short run after years of trying to get it launched. And the fallout wasn't just the shows dying. It hit the corporate level, too.
Right, the bankruptcy.
Exactly. March 10th, 2014. The specific division, Prospect Park Networks, the entity set up for TLN, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
Now, Chapter 11, that's key, right? That's reorganization, not liquidation. They weren't just shutting down the whole company.
Correct. It was a strategic move, seemingly to isolate the financial damage from the failed streaming venture. It allowed the rest of Prospect Park, the TV production side, the music side, to continue operating.
And incredibly, even while that networks division was in bankruptcy, they kept pursuing the $25 million lawsuit against ABC.
They did. They were still trying to recoup those alleged damages, even as the venture itself was collapsing.
And ABC's response?
Predictably, ABC filed a countersuit. They wanted unpaid licensing fees, arguing Prospect Park hadn't held up their end of the bargain.
So just a total legal quagmire, both sides suing each other over shows that weren't even being produced anymore.
Pretty much. A classic corporate standoff.
But you mentioned the other parts of Prospect Park survived.
Yeah, that's important. The networks division and TLN effectively dissolved later in 2014, but the production and music arms kept going. They eventually became part of a reactivated entity called the Firm, Inc. in 2015. So the soap opera experiment failed catastrophically, but the parent company structure adapted and survived.
Okay, so how did the legal battle finally end? Did a court ever rule on whether ABC actually sabotaged them?
No, it kind of fizzled out, actually. In late 2016, both lawsuits, Prospect Park's original suit and ABC's countersuit, were dismissed. No big judgment, no definitive ruling.
Anyway,
Seems like it. Maybe a settlement we don't know about, or they just mutually agreed to drop it after years of legal fees. And with the lawsuits gone, the rights to All My Children and One Life to Live just reverted back to ABC, quietly.
back where they started.
Wow.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole 3-year saga, from huge ambition to bankruptcy and dismissal, What does it tell us? What did we learn from this attempt to move these legacy shows online?
Well, it certainly showed how incredibly difficult migrating established linear media can be, especially something with the history, the union contracts, the
Yeah.
character rights complexity of a daily soap opera. It's not just flipping a switch.
Yeah, the baggage is immense.
And it highlights the friction between old media giants
Yeah.
and newer digital players, even when they try to partner. The lawsuit really underscores that tension.
So failure seemed almost baked in, given the legal and labor fights.
It certainly looks that way in hindsight. But here's a thought. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what if they had succeeded? Imagine if Prospect Park had somehow navigated those legal and labor issues back in 2013.
Hmm.
This was a super early attempt, remember, to put daily, long-form shows exclusively behind a digital paywall using well-known IP. If TLN had actually worked, found a sustainable model, how different might the streaming landscape look today?
That's interesting. Would we see more niche genres from broadcast TV making that jump? Like, could old game shows or maybe local talk shows have found a subscription life online if TLN had paved the way?
It's possible, right? It might have created a different path for certain types of content that have struggled in the peak TV streaming era. Instead, its failure probably served as a cautionary tale for years.
Yeah.
Very expensive cautionary tale.
A fascinating what if. It really was this incredibly rapid cycle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huge streams, immediate problems, a brief moment of success, and then just total collapse driven by these off-screen dramas.
Absolutely. Real life was definitely more dramatic than the fiction in this case.
Yeah. Well, thank you for diving deep into all those twists and turns with us today. It's quite a story.